So these are almost identical watches from Samsung, but this one costs $100 more for, like I said, almost the same watch. The same battery, the same chip, the same interface, the same displays. Across the board, almost everything is the same. Now, of course, I'm talking about the Galaxy Watch 6 and the Watch 6 Classic, which is pretty obvious to tell one of the main differences is going to be in the aesthetics. But does that justify a $100 price difference? And what are the other differences involved? Well, I dug into it, and in this video, I'll share with you every single difference there is between the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, which I've been wearing and I really do like, and the regular Galaxy Watch 6. So let's start off with the most obvious differences and then get into ones that maybe you don't expect. So starting off, the big difference is going to be how you interact with the interface using the rotating bezel. So the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic brought back that really iconic rotating bezel that the Watch 4 Classic had and that we didn't see in a new release last year. So I was excited about this personally. Anybody who has not used it, I recommend maybe go to your local Best Buy and just try it. You'll see what I mean. It's a very satisfying and convenient way to navigate an interface that has such a, generally watches, right, they have a small display, and so swiping is not the best way to get around. A physical bezel that rotates allows you to hold it on the outside so your fingers don't cover the display, and you can navigate very seamlessly. Now, the regular Galaxy Watch 6 doesn't have that luxury of a physical rotating bezel, but it does have what they call a digital rotating bezel. So if you swipe your finger around just the very edge of the display, right outside the display even, it'll work very similarly, but the difference here is that it's, first of all, not like tactile. You don't have that nice, satisfying click. It does have like a digital, like a haptic click on the inside that feels similar-ish, but the big difference is going to be how you actually use it. So unlike the Watch 6 Classic, with which you use 2 fingers, this you'll use 1 finger, and so you end up blocking the screen with your finger during most of your rotation. So for that reason, the Watch 6 Classic does have a subtle advantage there. But the advantage of the Watch 6 regular then would be that it is a smaller, more subtle design. So if you don't want a larger, bulkier watch, and I'll talk about the size in a second, then the Watch 6 regular would be better. And by this, I don't just mean aesthetics, but also picture like sleep tracking. If you're gonna wear a watch when you sleep, you want probably the thinnest and the lightest watch you can get. And the Watch 6 regular is thinner and lighter. So for sleep tracking, it's nicer. Similarly, if you're going on a run, you probably want less weight on your wrist. You probably want something that looks more like a sporty watch. And being that these both have the same health arrays on the back, the same health sensors for tracking heart rate and GPS and everything else, like a lot of people are going to be wearing this for working out. That's really what smartwatches are, one of the main reasons I use them at least. And as a quick little side note, I actually am making a comparison between the Watch 6 Classic and the Watch 4 Classic, which I think is actually more interesting than you might expect. If you want to see that, definitely be sure to go down and click that subscribe button. And kind of zooming in on that idea a little bit more, these both come in 2 different sizes. So the Galaxy Watch 6, the regular one, call it the active, whatever you want to call it, comes in a 40mm and a 44mm, which in my opinion are both very nice sizes. The 40 is great for smaller wrists, the 44 on pretty much any other wrist out there is a pretty nice size. Now, the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, however, comes in 3mm larger, so 43mm and 47mm, and so it ends up being a really larger watch. It takes some getting used to. I feel like I have fairly average wrists. I wouldn't say necessarily large or small, but the Watch 6 Classic does look a little bit large on my wrist, and this is, of course, the larger version right here. And it is also a little bit thicker, so it's 9mm on the regular Watch 6, and you have 10.9mm on the Watch 6 Classic. So that's like 18-ish% larger, but in my opinion, kind of an unexpected benefit of that thicker watch is that you have a more durable and more protected watch. So, for example, take a look at my Galaxy Watch 5 from last year. I forget how I did this, but I ended up really damaging the corner of the display on the top. I did the same thing with the Watch Active 2 a couple years ago, and that's because the screen's not really that protected. Like, it's just display, flat on the outside, and even though they are both sapphire glass, so it should be pretty durable, you don't have a strong edge on this. It's also a different material. The Watch 6 regular is aluminum versus stainless steel on the Watch 6 Classic. And of course, stainless steel is a harder metal, so it's more scratch resistant. And like I said, you also have a tall bezel around the outside, so that the screen is recessed and therefore a little bit more protected, similar to what we saw on the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. And of course, stainless steel is also a bit heavier, so the Watch 6 Classic, although heavier might sound like a drawback, for the Classic, I would say it's probably actually a positive. Like, I think the material choice is really intelligent here, where the aluminum on the Watch 6 regular is great for a lighter, more active lifestyle, and the Watch 6 Classic being heavier feels more premium and more solid like you'd want from a classic watch. They do also have different colors, so you have two colors on the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, a black and a silver. The black one looks really clean and subtle, but the silver I think I might like a little bit better because it is more of a metallic finish. You see the stainless steel a little bit better, whereas the Watch 6 regular has three different colors. There's like two colors for each size and one overlapping color, so three total colors there. But other than that, there's really not a whole lot of differences here. They do come with a different default strap, so a lot of the Watch 6 regulars are shipping with a silicone strap, and the classics are shipping with this kind of hybrid leather, fake leather, corn, whatever strap, which feels nice and it does a decent job, but you can customize this if you order online. I don't have links below, so you can customize that when you order from Samsung. And then the only other difference that I could maybe suggest here is that you might have slightly less accuracy on the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, not because of the sensors, but rather just because of the architecture of it. So a heavier watch is more likely to move around a little bit more, especially if you're running, unless you wear it really tight. But also a larger watch, again, is more likely to kind of move around on your wrist. And so if you're working out a lot, there's a really slim chance that it has a slight impact on the accuracy. But other than that, you have the same battery, the same sensors, the same chip, the same interface, the same absolutely everything across the board. They're identical watches, other than the external. So does it justify a $100 boost in price? I think it depends on what you're using this for. If you're dressing up a lot, I think, yeah, it looks a lot nicer, it feels nicer, and the Classic is a great buy. But if you care a lot more about, health tracking and really sleep tracking is a big one, then I would recommend save the money and get the slimmer watch. They're both fantastic watches. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. Next, I recommend you watch this video right over here. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you over there.